The school board meeting will begin in 1 minute. Please take your seats. Again, the school board meeting will begin in 1 minute.
Good evening. The May 9th, 2023 meeting of the Marion County School Board is now called to order. Mirroring and modeling the way our students begin each day, I ask that you pause with me for a brief moment of silence. Thank you. I will now ask Reverend Cummings if you would please read our board commitment statement.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We are the Marion County School District Leadership Team. When we come together to work, we are efficient, effective, and productive. Our three most important characteristics are dedicated, transparent, and individually responsible. To work well together, we must demonstrate respect, confront reality, and be accountable. We will always put students first. We will leave a legacy of success.
Thank you, Reverend Cummings. For the courtesy of those listening to the meeting, I request everyone in the audience to please remove their hats and to turn their electronic devices on silent or on vibrate. Later in the meeting, up to 30 minutes will be provided for individuals to address the board on matters concerning the operation of Marion County Public Schools or the school board only. Presentations to the board are limited to 5 minutes and are televised. If you wish to address the board regarding a regular agenda item or matters on which the board customarily takes action, you must first complete a peach-colored form located in the lobby. If you wish to address the board regarding a public hearing or a student discipline matter, please complete a lime green colored form. These forms must be fully completed and received by the board clerk no later than 5:40 p.m. The procedures applicable for each are on a separate sheet. Board clerk, please call the roll.
Dr. Allison Campbell, District 1.
Here.
Mrs. Lori Conrad, District 2.
Here.
Mr. Eric Cummings, District 3.
Here.
Mrs. Nancy Thrower, District 4.
Here.
Dr. Sarah James, District 5. Dr. Diane Gullett, Superintendent.
Here.
Mr. Jeremy Powers, School Board Attorney.
Here.
Dr. Gullett, good evening. Would you please have your team members come forward who's introducing the inspiration and pledge this evening?
Certainly. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. Nice to see you this evening. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Danielle Livengood, and she will introduce some very special guests with us tonight who will lead us in not only the inspiration, but the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Campbell, Superintendent Dr. Gullett, and board members. I have the privilege tonight of introducing the 2023 National Merit Finalists to you. Each year, 15,000 students in the United States are named as National Merit Finalists. This year, 11 of those belong to Marion County Public Schools. During October of their junior year, students sit for the PSAT, which is a National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test. From those scores, National Merit Scholarship Corporation uses its own student selection index to determine which students will qualify as committed students or semifinalists. In September of each year, approximately 1/3, around 16,000 students of the 50,000 high scores on the PSAT are notified that they have qualified as semifinalists. And then, in February, over 15,000 semifinalists are notified that they have advanced to the finalist standing. This month, approximately 7,250 of the finalists will be selected to receive a Merit Scholarship Award. They are chosen from the finalist group based on their abilities, skills, and accomplishments. Florida students who are awarded the National Merit Scholarship also qualify for the Benequisto Scholarship Program, which is equal to the institutional cost of attendance for an in-state student minus the sum of Bright Futures and the National Merit Award. So now I would like to introduce our finalists as they await their final award. After this introduction, they will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. We will begin with Bellevue High School. Jacob Brewer, come on up to the front. Vanguard High School, Daisy Jones. She is unable to be with us tonight, but we wanted to make sure we recognized her. Vanguard High School, James Kieran. Raghav Nander from Vanguard High School. Kendall O'Connor from Vanguard High School. I can crowd up a little bit. Sanj Patel from Vanguard High School. Sophia Reed from Vanguard High School. Litian Zing from Vanguard High School. Luke Myers from Westport High School. Brian Sagram from Westport High School. And Vivek Sandra Patty from Westport High School.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we say congratulations, let's come take a quick picture.
Where?
So proud of you.
Such an amazing accomplishment by some of our graduating seniors. So proud that they're representing Marion County so well. Board, do any of you want to say any comments to these particular students on their way out?
I do.
too.
Go for it, Reverend Cummings.
Well, go ahead, Ms.
Oh, good. Okay, Ms. Conrad.
I just want to say that it's education is a lifelong journey, and several of those students, I was fortunate enough to just be at the school they were at as elementary students. And so as they start their career, as young children, and their parents and their schools support them, just an amazing journey that we celebrate tonight. So congratulations to all.
And I'd just like to echo that congratulations as well. Some of these young people, when we came on the board some years ago, they were in lower grades, and they have grown up and they're doing great things. To be recognized as National Merit Scholar semifinalists, that's a wonderful achievement. We continue to pray that you guys continue to have the success that you're having, and that you just go on further and further. But there was one of you that was in that group as well. That's a U.S. Presidential Scholars semifinalist, and that's Vivek Sandrapati. I got an interesting email letting us know that he's one of the semifinalists nationwide. So can you stand up, Vivek, come back so we can acknowledge that, because that's a major accomplishment. Only the second one from Marion County in the last 5 years. So we're proud of you. Go represent. We're praying that you get the medallion and continue to do well. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Esther?
And I'll just quickly say that it is such a tremendous accomplishment. It is a testament to your commitment about already realizing how important education is and where it will take you. And we can't wait to have you come back and give us updates.
Awesome. And as you continue on your career path as lifelong learners, don't stop learning. I know that you won't. But we also want to say kudos to all the parents out there and all the educators that have been a part of these students' journey. It's a great way to celebrate Teacher Appreciation Week, to say amazing educators helped create what has been this pathway for these students. So thank you so much, and congratulations again. Sure, we'll clap again. Okay, Dr. Gullett, will you please introduce the member of your team who will be doing our recognition this evening?
Certainly. Good evening again, Madam Chair, members of the board. It's my pleasure to invite Jennifer Thomas, who's going to come forward and introduce some additional special guests here with us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Board Chair Dr. Campbell, Superintendent Dr. Gullett, and board members. It is an honor to be here tonight to represent the School Choice Department and introduce you to the School Implementation Manager from Cambridge Schools, Mr. Jeff Brewer. Mr. Brewer is here representing Cambridge International to present a very special recognition to our district. We have had many successes this year within our Cambridge programs. Earlier this year, we were notified that 40 of our Cambridge students from North Marion High and Bellevue High earned both awards of distinction and merit for their successful passing of Cambridge examinations. Additionally, our North Marion High Cambridge program earned the designation as a School of Distinction for the 4th straight year, and Bellevue High School was awarded the designation of School of Excellence for the 2nd straight year through the Magnet Schools of America program. These recognitions showcase the hard work and dedication of the teachers and students at these schools. Joining us tonight from these sites, we have Ms. Heather Guest, principal of Bellevue High School, and Ms. Kristen Blair, one of 2 Magnet coordinators at Bellevue. Accompanying her is one of our standout Cambridge students, Mr. Jake Brewer, who you met earlier. Representing North Marion High, we have Ms. Carol Sales, principal, and Ms. Dana Spencer, Magnet coordinator. And alongside her is one of their standout Cambridge students, Ms. Brooke McConnell. The staff at these sites continue to work tirelessly to provide opportunities to engage with the rigorous academic curriculum through the Cambridge program. These successes led to the expansion of Cambridge opportunities throughout the district, including adding Cambridge General Paper at each of our high schools. Two of our middle schools, Bellevue and North Marion, work hard to lay the foundation for students to engage with the Cambridge curriculum. And we are very excited about extending opportunities into the lower grades with a Cambridge primary program at Reddick Collier Elementary, beginning in the fall of 2023. Stay tuned for more news on that endeavor. Now that we've discussed the many accolades of our strong Cambridge programs, let me turn the podium over to our special guest, Mr. Brewer, who has joined us to present another recognition for the hard work in our district.
Good evening and thank you. I am proud to present Marion County Public Schools with the Cambridge International District of the Year in the Medium District category for the 2022-23 school year. Every year, Cambridge International honors 3 schools and exceptional districts across the United States in the large, medium, and small district categories. Within each category, we recognize districts that ranked highest in increasing access to rigorous curriculum, sustaining or improving student performance on Cambridge exams, and committing to equity for education for all students. This award is based on exams taken during the November 2021 series and the June 2022 exam series. Since results from the June 2022 series are released during the 2022-23 school year, Cambridge International provides the award during this academic school year. Over the past 2 years, your district has expanded access to Cambridge International exams, with exam entries increasing over 30%, along with even more students taking Cambridge coursework. During the expansion, your students continue to achieve strong passing rates on Cambridge exams, and we realize that growing the Cambridge program and simultaneously seeing success in your students requires tremendous work by your teachers, your students, parents, as well as your school and district staff. This award is especially rewarding for me, as I was fortunate enough to spend 17 years as a Marion County educator prior to joining Cambridge International, leading the Cambridge ACE program at Bellevue High School and helping start the program at North Marion High School. I've spent the last 2.5 years traveling and working with schools throughout the United States, and I can share that Florida schools and students are incredibly fortunate to have the policies that impact school funding, credit by exam, and the direct tie-in to the Florida Bright Future Scholarship Program. Over the last 5 years, to the 2 schools that we've mentioned tonight, very importantly, Bellevue and North Marion, have combined to earn over 480 ACE diplomas. And what we know from that, these students automatically qualify for the Florida Bright Future Scholarship as a basis of that. And that is a tremendous opportunity for our students and families that they may not otherwise have. I congratulate you all on this award and leave you with the challenge to continue to grow and expand access and opportunities for all of your students. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brewer. I think we want to go take another picture, board. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay.
Principal. He said he was excited about being in the front.
Oh, Jay wanted to be in the front row?
always great to have Mr. Brewer back in Marion County, and the amazing work done with both of our schools there and actually throughout our district as we're expanding Cambridge programs. As the mother of two Cambridge students right now, I'm hoping that they too eventually earn those ACE diplomas, and I know I can attest to the rigor of the curriculum and the coursework. But that truly is an accomplishment for this district and a testament to Dr. Gullett and her team for expanding opportunities for more students. I think that's an amazing testament to what we're trying to do to help every student succeed. So thank you. We would now like to take this time to recognize donations sent from several gracious individuals and organizations. $1,000 to Dunellen Elementary School from Delta Kappa Gamma, and $1,000 to Vanguard High School's IB program from Sonia Nasser. Thank you again for your generosity to our schools and our community. We certainly appreciate all of the support. So those donations totaled $2,000. Dr. Gullett, do you have a recommendation on this evening's agenda?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I certainly do. I recommend approval of the agenda for the May 9th, 2023 school board meeting with the materials in the board packet, those materials distributed to board members at the meeting, and the audio recording included as part of the official record of the meeting, with the exception of the following items: D23.1, D23.2, D23.3, D23.4, D23.5, D23.6, D23.7, D23.8, and D23.9 that have been placed under discussion, regular agenda items. Thank you.
Thank you. May I have a motion on the superintendent's recommendation?
So move.
Motion by Reverend Cummings.
Second.
Second by Ms. Conrad. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes 5-0, or 4-0, excuse me. We have 4-0 tonight. May I have a motion to approve the minutes from the March 23rd, 2023 administrative briefing and work session?
Motion to approve the March 23rd minutes.
Motion by Vice Chair Thrower.
Second.
Second by Ms. Conrad again. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion passes 4-0. I will now ask the school board's attorney to explain the rules governing persons who wish to address the school board today. Good evening, Attorney Powers.
Good evening. Thank you, Madam Chair. In compliance with Section 286.0114 of Florida statutes, the school board has adopted uniform meeting procedures for public speakers who wish to speak at tonight's meeting regarding either one of today's agenda items or a matter directly relating to the operations of the school district. These procedures will ensure that the public has a reasonable opportunity to be heard on school board and school district matters. A written summary of these procedures is available from the table in the lobby. Public speaker forms are also located on the same table. The completed forms were due to the school board's clerk no later than 5:40 p.m. This evening's speakers will be called on prior to the business portion of the school board's meeting in the order of receipt by the school board clerk. Before you begin speaking, please state your full name for the record and spell your last name. Each speaker will have 5 minutes of time. However, if there are more than 5 persons who wish to speak, the board may seek consensus to limit each speaker's time to 3 minutes. When the speaker has 1 minute remaining, the speaker will receive a visual or auditory notice to complete his or her comments. Please watch your time. Speakers may not yield their time to other people. Speakers and meeting attendees are expected to conduct themselves in a respectful manner. Therefore, verbal attacks and profanity are strictly prohibited. Pursuant to the procedures for public comments, item 6, speakers are not to identify specific individuals other than themselves or their child unless that statement is provided 24 hours in advance. The board is here to listen to your comments only. You may be directed to an administrative staff member following the conclusion of your comments for further assistance to address your concerns. If there are matters associated with student discipline, including expulsions, they'll be scheduled at the conclusion of the televised portion of this meeting. Parents may address the board regarding a discipline matter at that time. To ensure student privacy, only a parent or guardian may use a student's first or last name. Identifying references to or identification of any other students or their families are strictly prohibited. A public speaker's speech does not reflect the endorsement, sponsorship, position, or expression of the school district. Thank you for your attention to the board's requirements. And Madam Chair, that concludes my explanatory remarks.
Thank you, Attorney Powers. Do we have any speakers who have signed up to speak this evening?
Yes, Madam Chair, we have 3 speakers. Mr. Timothy Ennis.
Unfortunately, I'm here again. My name is Timothy M. Ennis, E-N-N-I-S. I addressed this board 2.5 weeks ago at your last meeting. I was advised that this person or that person would be getting involved. I made some comments about how long it would take to get things addressed. Exactly what I told the board is exactly what happened. I was never allowed to see a video involving my daughter in this altercation until the last day of her suspension. Why? Why did I find out that this boy did physically attack my daughter? For 8 to 9 minutes, he verbally, physically attacked her. She finally had enough and defended herself. She was suspended. This boy had nothing happen to him, to the point that the day after this incident, the parents of this boy were brought into the school and shown the video. Why wasn't I brought in at that time to see this video? I'm going to tell you why. Because of the 8 or 9 minutes prior to my daughter defending her showed this boy physically and verbally attacking my daughter. You have a resource, it's called a manifestation determination hearing. You have up to 10 days by the federal government to have this. I warned you all it would take 9 to 10 days. It took 9 days, even though I was told by 2 of your 1 board member and your superintendent it would be done expedited. Because that's when I saw the video. Yes, I walked out after I saw the video because I said there's no reason for me to be here. My daughter defended herself. She was not the aggressor. In that meeting, my daughter has an IEP. It is for behavioral because she went through a lot of trauma when she was a very young child. Since she has an IEP with behavioral, this incident, if she was the aggressor, would be considered part of her IEP, correct? Your board at that time of 9 people in this meeting came to the assumption it had nothing to do with the IEP. Wow, I guess she wasn't the aggressor, was she? Or how about you turn around and sent me the paperwork for the Hope Scholarship? You all should know what that is. That's for the victim. Why do you send the paperwork for a Hope Scholarship to the aggressor? Because again, my daughter was not the aggressor. My daughter was threatened the same day after the incident by your resource officer, your principal, and such. She was told she's lucky she wasn't charged. My daughter was smart enough and said, please charge me. Let's get this to court. You wouldn't do it. The resource officer didn't charge. Yes, I'm in contact with OCPD right now because they even admitted this boy physically stomped on my daughter's foot. You have a 0 contact rule in this school, don't you? So why did you go after my daughter?
You have one.
Why does Nancy turn around and refuse to respond to messages until after I tell her last night, you never watched the video, did you? Why does your superintendent refuse to answer the question? It's a yes or no question. Did you or did you not see my daughter being physically and verbally attacked by this boy? Her response, well, Mr. Ennis, you need to. No, I don't need to, nothing. It's a simple yes or no. Ask your attorney. Why are you people attacking the victims? I will stay until after this board meeting. Please come have a conversation. I'll show you your own paperwork. And you can come up to the same assumption. You don't send these type of paperwork. You don't send this type if she is the aggressor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ennis.
Mr. George Rimmel?
Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is George William Rimmel, R-I-M-E-L. This is my daughter, Felicity Noel Rimmel, R-I-M-E-L. Let's start with Wednesdays for any school activity needs to be stopped. This is a religious day. It's the best day for any church with a youth group. Allison? Wings of Faith, Wednesday night, booming. It's time to stop school activities on Wednesday nights. This little girl here is part of the choir over at Howard. Isn't that your district, Mr. Cummings? No reply. How sad. I think it's a disgrace what you've done to this kid's daughter. But now, back to my daughter. She's failing miserably. I'm holding the people at Howard Middle School accountable for their lazy and obnoxious behavior. Recently been to a 504 meeting over a month ago. Been promised counseling after counseling after counseling for this child. How many times have you seen a counselor, Felicity?
0.
0. Would you like to hear her say that again? 0 counseling. I double dog dare any of you to pull up her grades and look at her math, F, from the beginning of the year. I pay $78 at an after-school program. Where's the tutoring? Last year I was in here to ask for a reduction in my $78 payment. You all ain't lifted a finger or discussed nothing about people that are owed obscene amount of money in back child support, and I get no assistance from this school board, none. It's disgusting and it's shameful. I'm a single parent. My rent went up $300 last month. Now I got to make some decisions. Either I got to pay my rent, which I couldn't this month, or I stop paying her extended day program, which I'm wasting my money. This little girl's at school 12 hours a day. I drop her off at 6:30 in the morning, folks. Probably more than you get up at that time. It's not right that a 12-year-old little girl has to live the life of an adult because I'm a single parent. $7,600 is what I'm short every year because I don't get child support. $635 a month because I get no child support. I've been to the Congresswoman, I get this, blah, 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 from Congressman Catt. Nobody listens to me about being owed $47,000 in child support. Struggled and didn't pay my rent this month. Y'all got some conclusions to how this little girl's supposed to pass this year? Because I'm tired of the negligence coming from your district, sir. Your district. North Marion, she's supposed to be going to North Marion, but I can't because y'all didn't put some extended day program up there. Master's degrees all sitting up behind that desk, and you can't figure out how to get a couple of people to work up there at North Marion to have an extended day program? Y'all ought to be ashamed of yourselves. Every last one of you should be ashamed of yourselves for what's going on in this school district. It started with them books. God didn't want me here that day because I had some break issues. Because I certainly would have voiced my opinion about the books I've seen up in here. Y'all ought to be ashamed of yourselves. It was great, all these accolades. Everybody got their picture taken. Where are they at to hear about what's really going on in Marion County? They all scattered like a bunch of roaches when you turn the light on. I asked these ladies right here that were Bellevue principals, could you stay and hear what I have to say? Because I'd like another principal's view. No, I'm too busy. Excuse me, gotta go. That's why we, the people, need to be first. Instead of all these pictures and all these accolades and all these other things, we need to be heard first. And I mentioned that the last time I was here. Several times I mentioned that we, the people, need to be put first in these meetings instead of all this monkey business. I hope I receive some phone calls tomorrow from each one of you about how to resolve this little girl's issue, because I've had enough. I'm just like this other dad, fed up with all of you. Y'all ought to be ashamed of yourselves. Sit up here and you pray and all this other stuff. What's going on?
Thank you, Mr. Rimmel. Your time has expired.
Y'all have a nice night.
Thank you, Mr. Rimmel. Thank you, Felicity.
Melissa Merriweather.
I have to say, this auditorium is bigger than it looks. Hello, my name is Melissa Merriweather, M-E-L-I-S-S-A, Merriweather, M-E-R-R-I-W-E-A-T-H-E-R, here on behalf of Marion Education Support Professionals, and our address is 2801 Southwest College Road, Suite 14. That's Ocala, Florida, 34474. Is that everything?
That's everything.
I'm sorry. Thank you. I always get flustered when I come up here, so please excuse me.
You're welcome to tell us your favorite food if you like, or, whatever else. But.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, lasagna. My daughter's birthday was Sunday, and she made me make it. So I actually have two things that I want to talk to you about, so I'm going to try to smush them all in together for everybody. And let me start by saying first, greetings. Hello, thank you for seeing me. We have Chair Campbell, Vice Chair Thrower, Ms. Conrad, and Reverend Cummings, Ms. James. Oh, she's not here with us today. Okay, Dr. Gullett and Ms. Martinez-Lopez. It's wonderful to see all of you this evening. As you all know, this is Teacher Appreciation Week. So Marion Education Support Professionals would like to recognize all employees who teach our children. As we say, not all teachers teach in classrooms. Some teach in gyms and on PE fields. Some teach our students to drive, while others teach our students about behavior and how to manage their strong feelings. So this week, we recognize classroom teachers, career lab specialists, paraprofessionals, clerks, our technology professionals, and all others who teach our students across the district. Thank you for all of your hard work, dedication, blood, sweat, tears, and years of service. And many of you who are on our board, thank you, because I know that you have been educating our students and me for many years. So thank you. On a separate note, slightly more somber, well, very more somber for me, I want to address you about the climate of our district. Education has received a tremendous amount of attention over the past few years, from parents and communities championing teachers and our nation learning about the challenges associated with educating our students, to the attacks from our legislators who seem to want to dismantle public education. At the end of our 2022-2023 school year brings me a different wave of worry. Initially, it was new employees. Many of them were nearing the end of their probationary periods and felt targeted by their administrators. And they turned to us for support that they needed because now they're suddenly facing disciplinary action where they hadn't gotten the support from their administrators. And more recently, it's been veteran teachers. One in particular is a 37-year veteran who has been employed at the same work site for the entirety of her career. You all have recently received an email from her. This employee, like many others, feeling the stress that echoes around our county, said some things in frustration that maybe she should have rethought before she said them, especially by email. Her email was a simple subject line, saying something like, "I'm done," referred to, there not being some support and not being, things being a little bit too chaotic. So we're underpaid, overworked, and undersupported. And with less than 20 workdays left in her career, she sent that email and began removing her belongings. She also put one day into Skyward as a mental health day. If somebody is choosing to retire, who puts in 1 day of sick leave?
You have 1 minute remaining.
Thank you. So she took that 1 day and returned to school the next day, where she was escorted off campus. Now, the day of the event, she called the front office where she knew her administrator was standing to ask for some help. She did not receive help, and then I think she may have said something on the radio, and she sent this email. And he admonished her publicly and told her that she embarrassed him. And it looks, at least from my perspective, like he sought to embarrass her by having her escorted off campus when she returned and having her resigned, although she did not resign. We all know that if you leave campus and you leave your cell phone behind, that next day, you can't come back to retrieve that. You better hope you can find somebody who's willing to go get you your cell phone, because you can't access it yourself. This employee was told now that they are resigned and they do not have a job. They were offered the opportunity to take their sick leave, and they can rescind her resignation and take her sick leave, or she can remain resigned.
Your time has expired.
Thank you. I hope to speak with somebody to resolve this, because those two options are not acceptable. Have a great day.
Thank you, Ms. Merriweather. Dr. Gullett?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I see Ms. Morant in the back. She has her hand up, so she will assist you, Ms. Merriweather. Thank you.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve consent agenda items C9.1 through C22.1, with the exception of items D23.1, D23.2, D23.3, D23.4, D23.5, D23.6, D23.7, D23.8, and D23.9 that have been placed under discussion regular agenda items. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. Conrad.
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Thrower. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion passes 4-0. On to item D23.1. Dr. Gullett, would you like to introduce the member of your team who will speak to this item, please?
Certainly. Thank you, Madam Chair. Deb Riedel is here that can speak to this item. I did want the board to be aware. We place this under discussion because we have $1 million on this, and this is to have a district agreement for ability for our schools to access this literacy and to expand English language learning at home. So Ms. Riedel will provide some additional information and can answer any questions from the board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, hi, good evening, everybody. I'm going to speak about teacher-created materials. You might have heard it be called TCM. It's a company that started back in 1977, and we do use several products and resources from this particular company. We use Language Power as one of our MTSS interventions during our intervention block. Really, it's for students who are learning English or students with a learning deficit. We also purchase several items for our summer school enrichment. Building vocabulary is a systematic approach to vocabulary instruction that we are using for vocabulary support. We're purchasing readers' theater kits also for enrichment camp. This particular program provides engaging scripts for students to act out, and it includes multiple reading levels, and it's really for fluency. It supports differentiated strategies as well, but it does help to build student fluency. And then we need to provide our third grade reading camp students with something different. So we are purchasing Summer Scholars, which is a new program by Teacher Created Materials, and it's an ELA summer curriculum with basically 25 ready-to-use lesson plans, and it works on key literacy skills connected to our ELA benchmarks. It does include phonics, vocabulary, comprehension, and fluency strategies. We also, the reason for the $1 million is because we also know that schools will be purchasing items, additional resources as well. So we just wanted to make sure that we had enough and that we were covered there for whatever resources schools wanted to purchase using title funds.
Thank you, Ms. Riedel. Board, any questions for Ms. Riedel?
I have one.
Yes, Vice Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Riedel. I appreciate the details, and I'm noticing that this runs out in June of 2024, just about a year from now, and I'm also noticing that it's comes from a myriad of budget sources, including ESSER 2, which of course we know is going to go away. What's the forward plan for maintaining this beyond 2024?
So we use FEFP dollars for a lot of our reading resources. We talked about that last time in our K-12 reading plan. Those funds are tied to that, so we could certainly use those funds. Additionally, pretty much the schools would use their Title I funds if they're purchasing anything.
I see. Thank you. So after evaluating the effectiveness, then schools can use some of their title funds as well to keep it going?
Correct.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Ms. Conrad.
Yes, I saw, I was excited to see at the end of the summary that there is a parent component. I just wondered if you could elaborate on that a little bit.
So that's purchased by our ESOL department because they also use different funding to purchase materials from this company as well. And they're parent tip cards that they can send home, and they come in English and Spanish.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
No additional questions, Board. Therefore, may I have a motion to approve the agreement with Teacher Created Materials, Inc.?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Vice Chair Thrower.
Second.
Second by Ms. Conrad. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion passes 4-0. Thank you, Ms. Riedel. Before we go to item D23.2, I just wanted to quickly acknowledge two ladies that are in the audience because of something on the consent agenda. And thank you to Beth Nelson and Jan Hathaway from the United Way of Marion County. We are grateful for the Reading Pals partnership, and so thank you for being with us this evening. It was approved on the consent agenda.
Where are they?
Ladies, would you wave at us so they know who? Thank you. Thank you so much. I just wanted to acknowledge you so in case you didn't want to stay for the whole meeting. But thank you, ladies, for being here. On to item D23.2. Dr. Gullett, would you introduce the member of your team who will speak to this discussion item?
Certainly, and apologies to the board. We have a lot of items we placed under discussion, and I know we need to look at these individually, but the next three items are placed under discussion because they're independent contractor agreements. Donna Kidwell, who oversees our exceptional student education program, is here, and these agreements are in place because we don't have the district positions for them to make sure that we're meeting the needs of all of our exceptional student education students. So, thank you.
So, can I ask a question, Madam Chair?
Yes.
So, because all three of these are interrelated with, related to ESC, she's going to address all three of them now? Can she?
So maybe whenever we get to the motion, we'll actually have a unified motion on all three, if that works for you.
Can we do that?
Okay, because she's going to address items 23.2, 23.3, and 23.4 all collectively. When we do the motion, I'll ask for a collective motion on all three, if that works for you, Attorney Powers.
I would still prefer that we do individual motions for each because of the nature.
Okay.
So it still does require the individual votes, though with board's consent, you may merge discussion among the items.
So she can do the discussion?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you, Ms. Kidwell.
Yes, thank you. Good evening. So the first item represents 7 individual contracts for 7 occupational therapists. So they're each their own independent contractor. We employ 20 OTs for this school year for all of our 1,000 students who receive OT services, and these are contracts for 7 of those. Even though many of our therapists are part-time, when we do the contracts, we make it for full-time because we often have to increase hours if we lose therapists from other agencies. We also incorporate both June and July hours for extended school year, because last year we had both months, this year just one, and we're trying to avoid multiple amendments on this many contracts by incorporating all of that. So item D23.3 represents individual contracts for 5 physical therapists, and then D23.4 represents contracts for 15 individual speech language pathologists.
Board, any specific questions on any one of those 3 items? Vice Chair.
I don't have any specific questions. I just want to acknowledge appreciation for the high skill set that it takes to serve our kids with these individualized and significant needs, and I'm glad that we have them on board, so I'll be happy to vote yes tonight.
And I did want to say, all 3 of these are substantial amounts, and that just shows the investment that we're putting in for our ESC students. I'm grateful that they're there together. I like to see them together like that. It just brings the whole picture into total view. So thank you for that, and I'll be voting yes on all 3 of them as well.
I just had a comment as well, and I wanted to say thank you because I know the need is large, to meet the needs of our students each and every day. So thank you for the work that you're doing, and my vote will be yes also.
Okay, with that, may I have a motion? Thank you, Ms. Kidwell. May I have a motion to approve the independent contractor agreements with the occupational therapists?
So move.
Second.
Motion by Reverend Cummings, second by Vice Chair Thrower. Any additional discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion passes 4-0. May I have a motion to approve the independent contractor agreements with the physical therapists?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Vice Chair Thrower, second by Reverend Cummings. Any additional discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion passes 4-0. May I have a motion to approve the independent contractor agreements with our speech language pathologists?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. Conrad.
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Thrower. Any additional discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion passes 4-0. Moving on to item 23.5. Dr. Garlett, would you introduce the member of your team who will speak to this discussion item?
Certainly. Thank you again, Madam Chair. Deb Riedel is coming forward, and this is another component that provides curriculum district-wide rather, for K-12, and Deb Riedel can provide additional details as it crosses all content areas. Thank you.
Thank you.
It does.
You wanted to get your steps in this evening and sat way in the back. Thank you.
It does span across all grade levels and content areas, so I'm really excited about this. The purchase is for the use of IXL, ELA for grades K through 12, math for grades K through 12, science grades K-8, and social studies for 6-8. It's a digital computerized program that students can utilize at home or at school, and it even includes algebra, pre-calc, calculus. It goes all the way up and covers a myriad of subjects. There's an extensive video library where students have access to over 1,800 video tutorials. Tutors actually walk through concepts for students. For teachers, we know that whenever we are purchasing digital programs or whenever we are pushing those types of resources out to schools, we have to have additional training that goes along with that, because when we're using programs, we want to be sure that those programs are monitored and that we're looking at data. So for teachers, they have an e-learning library with over 40 videos for teachers. So for example, they can click on the video that shows them how to set up rosters and get started, navigating and assigning skills, recommendations for motivating students, analytics, setting up competitions, and diagnostic videos as well for targeting student needs. School leaders will have access to school-wide leaderboards, IXL analytics for administrators. So we really want to make sure that this program is pushed out the right way this year by monitoring the program and tracking student data every step of the way. We can search for the number of questions answered, diagnostic completion, diagnostic levels, skills progress. We also have PD sessions with the rep from the program who comes and does virtual sessions, and we record those. So those can actually be found now on our elementary curriculum SharePoint site, so teachers can go back and watch those as well. So we're going to beef up the training for this program next year and make sure that our students really are utilizing it and getting the most out of it so that they can experience success.
Thank you, Ms. Riedel. Questions or comments, board? I do. Ms. Conrad?
I just want to say thank you for the addition of this program. As a teacher, I used it almost daily. And I'm just sharing for those of you that are not familiar with some of these programs that we're talking about, and the luxury that IXL brings to a regular ed classroom is even for your students that are below grade level, you can assign activities. I was teaching fourth, but I could assign third or second grade skills for practice. The same is true for excelling. You know, I could assign a sixth or a seventh grade math lesson if needed. I also found that it was very beneficial because it provided a lot of practice. As a fourth grade teacher, I felt that the curriculum moved very fast, and IXL provided a lot of practice for our students, which is needed. I'm super thankful to hear the PD course, you know, that there's PD going to be added, because we were kind of just thrown into it and we figured it out, and it was difficult to track student data at that point. So I'd be interested to see if that piece has evolved some, so it's easier for teachers to monitor the students' progress and their accountability. And one other thing is in the weeds a little bit, but I just wanted to share one thing that was frustrating with that program is the achievement level at the end, them reaching the 100%. Allison's saying this, I'm sure it's her kids experienced it too. And so as a teacher, I altered that so it would be 85% mastery, because there's a very big frustration level that comes getting to that 100% on that program. And I found even with my highest students, it would kick them back. So I just share that as a learning experience as you move forward and helping our teachers plan how they're going to use this program. But thank you for your work in getting this in our schools.
Thank you for that, Ms. Conrad, and I'll go ahead and speak to IXL as well. As a parent, yes, this has been a wonderful resource that has been used in the Campbell home quite a bit, and across multiple students across different grade levels as they've gone through. But yes, one of my children's teacher has changed the level. I've heard the frustration from my child. I just can't get that. I just can't get that one. And once they miss a question, it actually doesn't just keep them, it kicks them back. So way back. So where they're getting 7 points here and 7 points there, and then all of a sudden they jump back 14 points whenever they miss one. So yes, that's great that there will be professional development to potentially help those educators that may not know that little skill to help frustrated parents and students at home in their homework. But I am grateful for IXL, and I'm super ready to vote on this one. But Vice Chair Thrower, Reverend Cummings, do you guys have anything else on this one?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
And thank you, Board Member Conrad, for your authentic feedback. You know, you just came out of the classroom, so that really means a lot to me to hear what you had to say, and also coming from a parent, Chair Campbell. And I was going to share all this during my comments, but we're talking about it now, so we might as well just get it done. I'm noticing a pattern tonight. It's a great one. We are being asked to approve literally millions of dollars in solid curriculum initiatives that will stand the test of time. And I love hearing the component of, you know, providing the training to the teachers and staff so that they can become very fluent with it. We talk about fluency a lot with kids. You know, our staff needs to become very fluent and comfortable with it too, so that it can be used to its best advantage to help each and every student succeed. It truly is a partnership, and hearing that there's, you know, the ability to use it at home, that speaks to where we're trying to go here, which is involving, you know, the whole community, families, with us to achieve this success. So I would just like to thank Dr. Gullett for, and your team for putting together this agenda tonight. Again, we're talking $900,000 just in this one item. But the effort, I believe, is going to pay off. You know, you have to build the foundation before you can cap it off with a great roof. So I'm ready to vote.
Thank you, Vice Chair Thrower.
Ditto.
Terrific. So may I have a motion to approve the special data share agreement with IXL Learning, Inc.?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. Conrad.
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Thrower. Any additional discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion passes 4-0. Dr. Gullett, would you like to introduce a member of your team who will speak to this discussion item?
Certainly. Thank you again, Madam Chair. Richard Benvenuti is here, and this item, 23.6, is a large one, as you can tell, $12 million, which speaks to the needs that we have for infrastructure support at all of our schools. So Mr. Benvenuti can provide additional details. Thank you.
Sure. We're really need to update our aging infrastructure. So this is one of the things that we need to do is we start out with our switches. So right now we've gone out for $12 million. We're going to be changing them out at all school sites and then district offices just to bring everybody up to level.
Thank you, Mr. Benvenuti. This is a large ticket item, but I am so excited about it. Any board comment, questions? Vice Chair Thrower.
Yes, Mr. Benvenuti, I've been expecting you. You warned us.
I did warn you I was going to come back with some high ticket items. So
right. And this is it's not just a big ticket item, it's a huge ticket item, and it matches the need.
Yes.
And, you know, you can do a pretty good job learning how to play baseball in a sandlot, but eventually if you want to get really good at what you do, you got to have the right equipment. So
that's correct.
Thank you for bringing this forward and looking forward to supporting it and supporting your department and getting this done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, may I have a motion to approve the bid 3981 GM with Cisco Equipment term contract?
So moved.
Motion by Reverend Cummings.
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Thrower. Any additional discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion passes 4-0. Thank you, Mr. Benvenuti. Before moving on to item D23.7, I'm going to interrupt just again. I just received confirmation from a friend at Charlotte County School District that Mr. Mark Vianello has just been chosen as their next superintendent. So that's real-time information that many of our folks in the audience have not heard yet. I saw Mr. Vianello walk out. Congratulations, Mr. Vianello. I saw him walk out, and she told me they're calling him now. I saw that happen. I'm like, okay, I got a text. I've been waiting. Normally, I don't accept texts during meetings, but I've been waiting on that one to hit on my Apple Watch, and there it was. So congratulations, Mr. Vianello. I thought the team would want to know that, who's here, who may not have gotten that in real time. There you go. That was fun.
Our phones probably all went off at the same time.
Probably. Everybody's getting the news at the same time. Okay. Terrific. So we are going on to item D23.7. Dr. Gullett, I believe Mr. Benvenuti's coming back for this one.
He is. Thank you, Madam Chair. He stayed close by, and Mr. Benvenuti can provide additional details about the sound systems and how critical that is in our classrooms so our students can hear and latest technology there. And I work with that for years, and it's very, very impactful to our students. So, Mr. Benvenuti. Thank you.
And so we've installed sound systems at 234 classrooms already, and we're going to do another 188 at school sites that are being picked, and we're trying to really enhance the instruction in those classrooms. We're looking for schools that this will have a big impact for. So we're grateful to have this, and hopefully you'll see some benefits from it right away.
Terrific. Any questions for Mr. Benvenuti on this one? Comments, questions?
Thank you.
Yes, just thank you. May I have a motion to approve the utilization Florida by Panhandle Area Educational Consortium Agreement 23-119 for Technology Catalog Solutions? May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Vice Chair Thrower. Second. Second by Ms. Conrad. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion passes 4-0. Thank you, Mr. Benvenuti. We appreciate you. Dr. Gullett, we're on item 23.8. We have another member of your team who will be introducing this item.
We do, Madam Chair. We're switching gears into our meal program, and Jamie Lovett is here, and of course, we're looking for a pretty large increase here, and Ms. Lovett is present to answer any additional questions. I think can share some information about the additional costs this year.
Good evening. I want to take this opportunity to discuss the request for an increase in expenditures with Cisco through the Power Buying Group. The most significant factor contributing to the request, the increased price of food is, the most significant factor contributing to this request is the increased price of food and supplies. We are seeing an average increase of 30 to 40%. In addition, other contributing factors are our fixed delivery fee has tripled. From 2019, it was $1.27 to now $3.85. So that's a fee per case that comes into our schools. We are also responsible now for gas surcharge fees for every delivery. We also this year increased our after-school meals program to provide a full meal to students who stay after school from 5 sites in 2021 to 22 to 36 sites in the 22-23 school year. So this has increased the amount of food and supplies that we are ordering from Cisco. The Food and Nutrition Department remains committed to operating a financially solvent program. We received assistance this year from the Supply Chain Assistance Funding that was on the consent agenda this evening. In addition, our department has done our due diligence to control the cost of food on the menu, the cost of menu substitutions, and placed other controls to manage the cost of labor. We will continue to monitor the expenses and make decisions accordingly to ensure we are financially responsible with our funding. Questions?
Thank you, Ms. Levitt. Questions, board? Vice Chair.
Did you have something?
No, she doesn't.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Levitt. $3,500,000. Our kids are getting the full meal deal. No questions asked. And I really appreciate what you're doing to make sure that that happens so that no child gets left behind. I mean, with everything we're approving tonight, we're going to have some pretty high expectations. And in order to meet them, we don't want any kids showing up with an empty stomach. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Levitt. So hearing no other questions, may I have a motion to approve Power Buying Group contract with Purchase Smart GPO S Corp for food and supply distribution services through Cisco Central Florida, Inc.
So move.
Motion by Reverend Cummings.
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Thrower. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion passes 4-0. Thank you so much. And our final discussion item, Dr. Gullett, would you introduce a member of your team who will be talking to this item?
Certainly, thank you again. Last item for discussion. We have here a joint bid with the City of Ocala, and this is for gasoline and diesel fuel, which I think is going to help us get better rates. So Ms. Aurora is here to answer questions and provide some additional context. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Rohr wanted to get her steps in too, sitting in the way
Yes.
back. This auditorium's bigger than you realize, as Ms. Merriweather just told us a few moments ago.
Good evening. I need a few more steps.
Thank you.
So just to give you a little history on how we came to the decision of putting the bid out and approving the budget for fuel, and that includes the diesel, the gasoline, and the red dye diesel. So looking back at 5 years, in 1819, we spent $2,619,428. 1920, we spent $1,795,037. In 2021, we spent $1,739,839. Last year, 21-22 school year, we spent $3,118,943. In current year thus far, we have spent $2,747,158. So we've budgeted for 3.5 for the next school term. And as everyone knows, fuel prices varies daily, so we try to put in a cushion to have enough to get our children to and from.
Thank you, Ms. Rohr. Any questions or comments, board? Vice Chair.
Thank you. Yes, we have over 20,000 students that ride the bus, so having dependable transportation that is safe is a huge piece of our foundation. And I'd just like to thank the City of Ocala for partnering with us on this. Thank you, Dr. Gullett, for what it took to connect that partnership. That's good government partnering right there. And I really do appreciate it. They have stepped up before to make sure that there were no alcohol sales close to Howard Middle School recently. And to me, that's just a great example of the community coming together on behalf of our kids. And thank you for your hard work.
Thank you, Vice Chair. May I have a motion to approve gasoline, diesel, and biodiesel joint entity term contract?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Vice Chair Thrower, second by Ms. Conrad. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion passes 4-0. We are on to board committee reports and concerns. So we will start with the board clerk's office. Anything down?
No, I have.
Thank you so much. Attorney Powers.
Just briefly, I wanted to say for the superintendent and the board and those who are in attendance, with my office, a good portion of what I do comes to communication, planning, and problem solving with district administrators. And some of those I may work with intensely and closely for a week or two, and then not again for a couple of months at a time. But I'm always impressed with the professionalism. Most recently, I wanted to just, I believe that time is never wasted in expressing gratitude. So thank you very much, Dr. Alday, Dr. Livingood, Ms. Riedel, Ms. Debick, Mr. Herlihy, Mr. Benvenuti. We've worked very closely on some projects lately, and I appreciate that and appreciate your professionalism. Some emergent things that pop up, and we all have to get on the same page fast. We've dealt with Mr. Frazier and Ms. Kidwell, both also providing outstanding representation to the district in that. And of course, on a near daily basis, more than probably they would like, Mr. McFadden, Mr. Ayers, and Mr. Collins, we all work together very closely, and I continue to appreciate their professionalism and everything that they do. So thank you all very much. That's all I have. Nothing else from legal.
Thank you, Attorney Powers. Dr. Gullett.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. I quite simply want to express my deep gratitude for our teachers. Today is National Teacher Appreciation Day, and we're recognizing them all week, but it's not just a day or a week. We know how impactful they are. They're in front of our students every day. We know the challenges are great. They continue to be great. And I shared at the Golden Apple Gala about it's not just what they do, it's how they do it. And I think that's important. We talk about why a lot, but I also talk about how. And meeting students where they are, I'm very proud that with the board, we are deeply committed to helping every student succeed. And that means a lot. All of our students come with different needs, and sometimes those ebb and flow. And teachers are meeting the students each and every day with all the needs that they have to say, we got you. And we're not only do we have you, but we're going to make sure that you reach your full potential. And so I'm just incredibly proud to serve as a superintendent of this district and want to say again to the teachers, I sent a message to them today, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gullett. I'll go to Reverend Cummings next.
Good evening, everyone. Once again, we're at the end of a meeting. I'm delighted to see how this has been moving tonight, and our meetings has been very productive. And tonight we saw, and I said it earlier, several big ticket items go through for ESE and curriculum, and just putting the pieces into place so that we can have a successful district, a more successful district. So I want to thank our superintendent and the team for bringing those forward on tonight. I believe that all those things that we voted on tonight and are implementing are going to move us to a different level, and they are directly related to positive student outcomes. So I truly believe that. I do want to say congratulations to all of our teachers. As Ms. Marion said, it doesn't necessarily mean that the teacher is in the always in the classroom. There's teachers in other ways in our school district. So I've been out and about to certain schools, several schools, and just seeing the different things that they're doing to appreciate their staff and let them know that they are truly a vital part of the team. So I'm grateful for that. Last week they were doing testing. So to come back after a week of testing and then to have teacher appreciation, I think it's a needed break. It was a needed break. But we also know that there's still some more testing that has to go forward. And I'm encouraging our parents. This is one thing in my travels. I'm seeing that there's not a lot of absences last week. So parents, please keep up that. It makes a difference that those kids are there in school on testing date. When they're not there, it creates a little dilemma where they have to go back and try to retest them and bring in different groups. So please make sure that they're there for these tests. It's vitally important that they are in attendance for testing. A couple more things. In a few weeks, we're going to be dealing with graduations, and I just want to encourage these young folk to not get slack now, to not take everything for granted. Enjoy this time, but graduation is coming. I want them to have great, safe, productive graduations. I'll probably be at all of them except for one. That's just because of scheduling. But we look forward to seeing these kids, these young people, cross over into another dimension in their lives as this rite of passage that's going to take place. So we're celebrating our graduates as they're coming forward. Some of you are already probably getting the graduation announcements and those things, and seeing these kids prepare. This is a great time of the year because you get to see these young people graduate, but you also get to see the proms, you get to see the pictures and all those things. This is the time that I thought was one of the most enjoyable times when I was in high school, because it was nearing the end, but there was also some apprehension because sometimes we don't know what the next chapter holds. And I was talking to a young man on Sunday in church, and he was anxious because he did not necessarily know what the next chapter held for him. And as we sat and talked and figured out what's the plan, I want to encourage these young people, if you are still having some anxiety about what the next chapter is, have a talk with your counselors, your school counselors, have a talk with your parents, have a talk with your teachers about what your next steps are. I encourage everyone to sit down and write it out, your plan. Have some long-term plans and some short-term plans. And in the midst of that, figure out how you're going to achieve those goals. I think when you start seeing it on paper, you can implement those things, and it makes a difference. And just make sure you're talking to the right people. Congratulations again to Mr. Vianello on this appointment to the superintendent in Charlotte County. So grateful for what God is doing in his life as well, in his career, and we expect some great things to hear come out of there. I do want to share this to about 12 minutes from now. A major celebration is going to happen at the College of Central Florida. My alma mater, Forest High School, will be having a celebration to celebrate 100 years of the oldest high school band in the state of Florida that was started. And we were they asked us to be there. Unfortunately, we have our duties, but I did see Mr. Frazier leave in time, so he should be there to representing us as a board. But this Forest High School band was started at Ocala High School in 1923 by one of the great high school band leaders, Mr. Brown Grayton Cole. And so now we have the distinction, I believe, of having the oldest high school band in the state of Florida. So Chair Campbell, I'm hoping that in the next few weeks, we'll be able to bring that group here to do our inspiration. I'm putting it on record that I'm asking, so I expect that to happen very soon, and that we can have them do our inspiration and just make sure that, that those kids are recognized and that school is recognized for their achievement. And two more things, I'm through. Chair Campbell and board members, in our briefings with the superintendent, I told the superintendent I was going to say this. In my briefings with the superintendent, we became aware that there is a special superintendent's meeting being called statewide. And it lines up on the same date that we're supposed to do her evaluation. My recommendation to the superintendent was that due to the times that we are in, she needs to be at that meeting in Miami. We do not need to put our name on any list that we don't have to be on. So I'm going to recommend and ask this board that we would possibly consider having a special board meeting to deal with the evaluation so that she can be in Miami, which is appropriate for her. We don't want Marion County Superintendent to be the superintendent that's not there, and then we be in a negative light. So I ask that. Students, let's finish strong. We got a few more weeks. Teachers, let's finish strong. We have a few more weeks, and then we can take a breather. Thank you.
Board, would you like to have brief discussion on that question?
Sure. Yes. Well, I'm in support of that. I do think it's important that the superintendent is able to attend. Just working out our calendars is the challenge.
Sure. Vice Chair?
Well, I'd just like to thank you, Dr. Gullett, for always being flexible with us and our needs and having as many meetings as it takes to get the job done. I defer to you for what you feel is best, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to support whatever comes from that.
Thank you. Dr. Gullett?
Thank you. Thank you, Board. I did notify the Department of Education of the unique circumstances. It's a board meeting, but especially because it's the night where you will discuss my evaluation. So I let them know that, and they said thank you for letting us know. So representative is available to go on my behalf. I mean, that's really comfort level of the board. I mean, I'm flexible, but I did let them know that they were unusual circumstances, so.
Are you in favor, Superintendent, of us doing a special board meeting for your evaluation?
Certainly, I'm always flexible. So whatever the board would like to do, I know these are unusual circumstances, and it just happens to fall. We originally had a save the date, I think, share with all the board members, Central Florida. We were anticipating Orlando. I thought I could be there in the morning and be here in the evening, and it would be a problem, but it ended up in Miami. So it starts early and lasts all day, so I couldn't make it back in time for the board meeting that night.
So, Madam Chair, can we do this? The date you have to be in Miami is the 30th?
The 23rd.
I'm sorry.
23rd.
23rd.
Yes.
So can we?
If the board does have consensus to move forward with finding another special board meeting date, I would recommend that we use the polling that we just did to try to find another, the doodle poll, let me say that. We used a doodle poll via email where we electronically could share dates that worked well for us. Polling is not a good word to say among board members. It's a doodle poll, electronic poll, to say what dates work well for our calendar. So if we could do that electronically as opposed to all pulling out our calendars right now, I think that would work best.
How soon would that go out? Because we need to, as far as advertising, that needs to be done ASAP.
Sure. I do believe because of the scheduling that we were working on, I do believe we have a special work session coming up as well. And I think that date is confirmed, but I'm not completely sure. And if that is happening, it's possible that we could have a special board meeting the same day as that work session, perhaps, but we can look at alternative dates. And Dr. Gullett, I'll just leave that up to your team if they can send us an email in the next 24 hours so we
Certainly.
can get that coordinated.
I can send something out. We can send something out to the board. Absolutely.
Perfect.
So I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Is that doodle poll, is that good? Is that something good for us to do, considering sunshine and all that stuff?
I've checked into that. That's actually fine because there's no content exchange other than the calendar times. You're not discussing anything there other than simply a date.
I'm uncomfortable with it. I'm going to tell you why. We're in a different political climate. We need to be completely transparent about everything, and I'm just uncomfortable with that. So I won't participate in that one, and I'm not being funny, but you guys know where we are and what we're dealing with.
I do, and frankly, the political climate we're in as this board member, I don't know how comfortable I am with sitting here saying, well, on this date, I have a doctor's appointment, on this date, I have, and that's what we have done in the past publicly, and so I would prefer us coming up with an alternative way, whether it's just simply an email rather than a doodle poll. If it's an email listing a couple of options, and then we reply to the board clerk's office or something like that, but if we can handle it electronically instead of in a public meeting, I personally would appreciate that.
Right. We're talking about scheduling a meeting. We're not talking about discussing the content of said meeting. So I would emphasize that we stick to the dates like we always do. And as long as our attorney feels that we're well within our bounds, then let's get it done. We're certainly not afraid to have a special meeting and for the good of the cause. So, and in this case, Dr. Gullett, I appreciate your flexibility, and it sounds like, you know, we can work this out. So let's get it done.
Thank you. So Dr. Gullett, we'll await something from your team?
Certainly, and I'll work with Attorney Powers to be sure so the board's very comfortable that we manage that appropriately. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to Ms. Conrad.
Good evening. I was gonna, Reverend Cummins said that we were trekking along pretty quickly, but I apologize because I do have a little list to go through tonight, but I will say most of it's positive. I just want to tell you where I'm coming from. There's so much negativity in the media about education. And it hurts my heart, especially if you're here tonight and you hear all the great things that are happening in our public schools. And so I just have a little list of things that I want to share with you, I want to share with the community that are happening in Marion and County and that I'm proud of. I'm just so thankful to be here and in this area and to be a part of Marion County Schools. So if you'll bear with me for just a minute, I'm going to run through a little list of things that I'm thankful for right here in Marion County. There was a textbook committee a couple of weeks ago, and I forgot to thank, but we had a lot of community members and staff members that participated in that process, and I just want to thank them for the time that they gave, the commitment. Some of it was very tedious, and so just thank you for the time and effort that went into helping us select curriculum that's appropriate and most useful to our schools. The Public Education Foundation, I just wanted to say thank you. I was in a meeting with Megan and her team not too long ago, and they're so positive, and they're working with the superintendent, always trying to find ways to lift up our schools, our staff, our students, and I'm grateful for the effort that they, the time that they take and the thought that they put into the conversations that they have to support Marion County. We also had the opportunity to watch the Golden Horse get moved from Westport to Ocala Springs for Lindsay Bigelow, and it was a time when I'm thankful that we're through COVID, that we were able to get together, children were able to sing, they played their instruments, and we celebrated Miss Bigelow's accomplishment, and it was just a wonderful, perfect example of good things that are going on in our schools. And I'm always excited to see kids excelling. We find ways to celebrate academically and a lot of times athletically, but I love when we can see their music ability or their artistic ability, and so that was present. And of course, it was a lot of extra work for a lot of people, but they made it happen. And we even beat the rain. We were supposed to get rained on that morning, and then so we beat the rain. Another great thing that happened recently, Denellen Middle School, the rock program opened out there, and the best part of that experience was a student came in, right? I mean, there were, I don't know, Allison, what do you think? 40 adults standing in, and I was thinking, well, if I was that little 9-year-old, I wouldn't have even come in the door. I would have been nervous. But he went through, and he was talking, and he was so kind and so polite, and his backpack had broken that morning, and so someone took him around. He got his backpack, he got his pencils. It was just such a beautiful thing that right then and there he was able to have his needs met so he could have a successful day at school. So thank you for everyone who helps those kinds of things happen through the ROC program. Dr. N.H. Jones put on a play right here at MTI. COVID has also stalled that out for a couple of years, and it's been an N.H. Jones tradition for many, many years. I was happy to see that they were able to do that. I was super excited to see the principal and the assistant principal participating as crabs as they went across the ocean-themed project, and I know that the kids will remember that for years to come. So thank you. That's, again, hours and hours of extra work that teachers and staff members and the school put in to giving the children the opportunity to put on a program like that. So thank you for the work that goes into that. Veterans Park Day of Prayer, I'm thankful to our county commissioners for the program that they were able to put on and the prayer that happened, and I wanted to share with the board. I hope that you feel supported, because I sat in the audience and cried. They named each board member in prayer, and Dr. Gullett, and you know, sometimes the decisions are hard, and you make the best decisions you can with the information that you have. And so I was thankful that other people in the community continue to pray for us as we help try to move our students in the best direction possible, and so they can succeed. So it was a very great event, and I'm thankful for that. Bike lane at Oakcrest was fantastic. So they had a second grader and a fifth grader that won the competition, and so we were able to see their design put down on the road. That in itself was amazing, because I didn't even know how that happened. So there was a great turnout. There was a young gentleman that was part of the road crew for, I'm sorry, that's probably the incorrect term. Anyway, did a great job explaining to the kids how this happened, and I loved that it was put down right in front of their elementary school. They're going to see it every day. So it was another great, successful program that their art teacher helped them be a part of. So another super thing. I also was able to be with the Kiwanis Club for their 75th anniversary celebration on Saturday. We have a great partnership with Camp Kiwanis, and they take about 400 campers a summer. And I didn't know but 100 of those are through scholarship. Mm-hmm. So a quarter of our students that go to Camp Kiwanis, they sponsor. And so on the drive out there, I was thinking, I was a counselor, I won't say the year, at Camp Kiwanis many years ago. And it's just anywhere you go in Ocala, you can sit down really with someone, and they have an experience to share with Camp Kiwanis. And so I'm thankful that's a tradition that continues here in Marion County, along with their pancake breakfast, that we are all fortunate enough to participate in, and the great things that they do for our students here in Marion County. And last but not least, I was able to meet with Fort King Presbyterian Church, a small group. They were interested in the book review process, which we discussed several weeks ago. And I'm thankful for community members that are involved and care about what's happening in our schools, what's happening in our state, and they take an active role in being informed and volunteering to be on committees to help us with this ginormous task of going through books that are challenged. And so I'm thankful for that group as well. A few other things, I promise I'm almost done. But there was a lot of things on the consent agenda today, and I just wanted to share that there's some really great things that are happening in our schools. And so just to draw awareness to the phonics program that we're using was adopted today, that we're using for Tier 2 instruction, and I know that our teachers need that. The Top Score Writing Program, as a fourth grade teacher, it really is priceless. It's a great program. It's one of the best I've ever had the privilege of using, and so I'm thankful that our teachers are able to have access to that. And Ms. Riedel shared with me this afternoon, actually, that the digital portion is not up and running, and so the district is getting the paper version, so they will have access to that as they begin. And so I'm just really grateful for a lot of things that have happened. We got some new welding booths were part of today's consent agenda item. And so, again, I'm just grateful for the people in the audience, the people that are not here, for the work that you're doing each and every day. There are a lot of great things going on in Marion County Public Schools, and thank you for all that you do each and every day.
Thank you, Ms. Conrad. Vice Chair Thrower.
Thank you. And yes, there sure are a lot of great things going on. I'll start by, again, appreciating all of our teachers in every way that I can even think to appreciate them, for continuing the great work that you're doing and attempting to do each and every day. Hopefully, when you hear about all of the items that were approved tonight, taking it down to phonemic awareness, one syllable at a time, one sound at a time, one child at a time. We won't be satisfied till every parent and every child feels like they were at least given a great shot. What you do with that, at some point you have to make your own choices. But we have been quite busy, the collective we, building a solid foundation to be able to lead this district to a place where we all know we've wanted to be. And I'm confident that we'll get there. I'm sorry that we're going to be losing Mark Vianello, but I can't think of someone that deserves it more. I had the pleasure of working with him and under him when he was executive director of student services years ago. He certainly has a deep background, a huge passion for kids. So Charlotte County, is about to get a good one, and I sure wish you all the best, Mr. Vianello. I also wanted to congratulate Chair Campbell, now Dr. Campbell. That's quite an accomplishment to get your doctorate and be a mom and be a school board member and a vice chair and a chair and a wife and a family. But you've managed to balance all that and get it done. So hearty congratulations. And, it is just continuing the line of all of the innovative things that we're doing. Our farm partners from the Black Stallion Literacy Project, I think we're up to at least 16 schools, elementary schools, that have had visits from their farm partners, really bringing authentic, hands-on learning to kids about our horse industry. I just want to thank publicly Ellie Truman and her team and all of the farm partners. Some of us have been able to get around to schools and see those. And it's just tremendous, if every single day of learning could be that engaging for kids, our task as teachers would be a whole lot easier, but I know that's what we're striving towards. I also want to speak directly to our students. We have students that are going to be graduating and moving out of our care, moving out of your parents' care, going on your next big step. I wish you the best. I'm excited for what is to come for you. And, this is a time of year where it's important to leave right. And even if you're leaving from one school to another, if you're going from elementary up to middle or middle up to high, those schools are going to remember you by how you conduct yourself these last couple of weeks. So finish right and finish strong. And in spite of the challenges, you have a new opportunity every morning you wake up to change things and make them even better. So I encourage each and every person that is involved with us to keep that in mind. We have close to 45,000 students, and it distresses me, greatly when there's any child or any parent that is unhappy with their current experience. And I'm committed, I've always been committed, and the way to solve those problems is to sit down and work it out. I can't say that we can all solve everybody's problems. I don't know what we can do about child support and some of the other things that were mentioned tonight, but I also know that we've been able to provide accommodations in a lot of areas and do our best to try to work through each issue. Does it get rough sometimes? Absolutely it does. But when you work with people for years at a time, you have those golden moments where everything's going really great, and then you have those other moments where it's not going well at all. But you have to have the faith that if you don't give up, you can make it better. The last thing I want to say is everything that we're trying to do begins as soon as the students come into our care, and it starts before the student even sets foot on the bus. It starts at the bus stop. We have over 20,000 students. That's almost half of our population that ride the school bus. And we are putting so many things into place that if we can just get people to stay long enough to benefit from it, we're going to get where we need to go. And all of us have a stake, and all of us have a responsibility in that, to see the vision and to really dig deep and continue to do the right things. Riding the bus is a privilege. I was reviewing our board policy just today, and it clearly states that. It's a privilege, not a right. And anyone that's lived in Marion County since before 2012 knows how much our roads have changed. Our roads were not built for the traffic that our bus drivers are having to deal with these days. The margin of error has become so slim. I have never seen so many fender benders with our buses. I'm glad our legislature, I believe they passed the camera law, because people are distracted, they're running reds. I don't know when it changed that it seemed to be okay to act any kind of way on a school bus. I just don't understand that, you know, especially now that our buses are air conditioned. You know, it's a pretty sweet ride. And our drivers deserve to have every bit of their attention focused on the road. And I know that our kids can behave on buses. We just have to hold them to it. So I look forward, very forward, and the superintendent and I have already had a conversation about this, and now I'd like to have it very briefly with the board. I would like to add to the next work session, if possible, a review of our current board policy when it comes to riding the bus and transportation, and also what that needs to look like to really enforce it. We'd be doing not only our transportation department a tremendous service, but we'd also be doing each and every child a tremendous service to know that when they set foot on that bus, that they're going to have a calm, relaxing, and safe ride. Imagine the mindset that 20,000 plus students will arrive in school with that in mind, and also how they will arrive home. I would think that it would go a long way to make them much more accessible to learning with all of these millions of dollars that we're spending. And I also believe it's going to go a long way to retaining the staff and the teachers, this extends to school as well, that we so desperately need to keep. You know, I think about all the fresh-faced teachers that are just coming out of schools, or ones that are coming out of different careers that have agreed to join us. You know, we don't want to squelch that their first week and have them be like, why would I do this? You know, I believe in kids. I believe in their ability, given the supportive circumstances and the expectations and the very clear and direct instruction, and then also back it up with kindness and being strict, that they'll rise to the occasion. We all do. We can all do a little bit better. And I just think it's high time. You know, I pray that our transportation department feels the support, the admiration, the pay increases, you know. But I learned the hard way from Evergreen that sometimes it gets to a point it doesn't matter what you pay them. You know, they just can't take it anymore. And it wasn't because of the kids in that situation. It was the whole dynamic of being under that microscope. But my point is that we have tremendous people trying to do tremendous things. We have tremendous kids that deserve every tremendous opportunity we can provide to them. And within that, they also deserve to know that what we expect in school is no different than what's going to be expected from them in society. And we would continue to be doing our kids a tremendous disservice by making that any different. So I look forward to the conversation. I hope that the board, along with Dr. Gullett, is willing to lead with me on this issue. It's time. So,
thank you, Vice Chair Thrower. I will go ahead and mention that our next administrative briefing and work session is scheduled for May 18th. Dr. Gullett, I believe we have a topic to add to that work session, if that works for everyone. Thank you, Vice Chair Thrower, and thank you to my fellow board members for all the things. I appreciate whenever you're able to attend events that I was unable to attend. I know it seemed like everybody in the community and everybody in our school system scheduled something for May 3rd through May 6th, and I was not available and not in town. So thank you for those of you who definitely represented us well whenever in my absence. I know there were things I would love to have been able to attend. But I also I appreciate all the comments that my board members have shared this evening, that fellow board members have shared. I, too, have a few things that I want to address, some positive and some kind of heavy. So I'm just going to read, actually, a lot of what I'm going to say this evening. So today I participated in a webinar for Fentanyl Awareness Day. Today is Fentanyl Awareness Day. And it was fascinating, the numbers of fake pills that are being pushed through social media that are killing kids. 200 Americans a day, which equates to 15 Floridians, are dying from fentanyl overdoses every day. Whereas previous drug education may have overemphasized non-lethal drugs like marijuana and THC that we even see in our schools quite often, fentanyl is much worse than we have ever seen. I'll be sharing the free curriculum information with our district teams when I receive it later this month that they'll be sending us. The curriculum is only needing one 20-minute session for students. That's all it's going to take, and they believe that 20-minute session will be effective enough to prevent fentanyl deaths, and that we hopefully would never have one among our students or anyone within our district. I also recently participated in several other activities. The Take Stock in Children graduation. It was the largest ceremony that they've ever had in our district. It was so inspiring to see the work the students had put in, and I'm also so grateful for the volunteer mentors. I will be completing my mentorship application this week, Miss Gray. I promise it's coming. She sent it to me, and I'm like, I promise it's coming this week. I, too, attended the rock dedication at Dunellen Middle School, and I certainly appreciate that partnership. And frankly, I'm looking forward to seeing them continue to expand their presence in our schools, because I believe that by the end of the school year, they will be in at least one more school, and that will be a great addition there as well. The Supervisor of Elections continues to go to our high schools and register students to vote. And so I did speak to some students at Bellevue High School last week, and that was a great opportunity just to say, hi, I'm a real person, and my name was on a ballot. And so I offer all the board members, I think that they were reaching out and sending that schedule. If not, I'll ask them again to make sure that everybody has that schedule. But that's a huge, important thing for our Supervisor of Elections office to be there and ensuring that our students are registered to vote. I also attended the N.H. Jones first grade play. That was so great. And honestly, as a parent, a former N.H. Jones parent, I asked my child, I said, did you participate in a first grade play? I don't remember that, which was really bad for me as a mom to say. And he told me exactly what he did and okay, I'm sorry, but they did such an amazing job last week, and the Go Fish and all the different little characters that they played. And yes, the administrative team being the crabs, and I was doing this because they were all dressed in red and they would come across they were the crabs. It was really a lot of fun. So it was terrific to see all the hard work that those teachers had put in, as well as the teachers of all grade levels supporting all of the students and their fellow teachers. So speaking of which, I too want to mention Teacher Appreciation Week. I'm so grateful to the amazing teachers in our district doing terrific work within our schools every day and doing what's best for students. I, too, had some wonderful teachers in my educational career, and a couple of my high school teachers helped lead me to the career I ultimately chose. My own children have had terrific educators throughout Marion County Public Schools. This is where it gets a little heavy. Interestingly, though, I can also remember loving math until I reached high school, and a teacher there changed that for me, not for the good. During our last board meeting, I talked a bit about student discipline by saying the vast majority of our students are making the right choices every day. But we have roughly 1% of students who aren't. Those students making bad choices are negatively impacting entire school climates and entire student bodies. What I want to say tonight has a similar message, but involves a different audience. The vast majority of our educators are doing what's best for students every day. They love their jobs, they support each other, they help students succeed. However, there are a few teachers and educators in our district who aren't. Their actions and work negatively impact entire school climates and entire classes of students. Our students know who they are, and our good teachers know who they are too. This week, a community member reached out to me about an experience they had as an elementary school student in Marion County Public Schools more than 40 years ago. Something this individual saw recently on social media caused them to want to reach out to me last week. They shared, as a first grade student in one of our schools, their teacher verbally and physically abused them and allowed significant other abuses to occur in their classroom that ultimately impacted this community member's entire educational trajectory. What was most appalling to me was that this person told me nothing happened to that teacher. The teacher was quote unquote protected and stayed in their position for years. However, I shared with the individual how we have significant teacher shortages that soon will be choosing between having quote-unquote bad teachers in front of kids or not having adults at all. And this community member, who is my age, had an experience as a first grader who told me unequivocally it would be an easy decision for them. They would have preferred having no teacher at all compared to the one they had. The person said that that first grade teacher, quote, destroyed my education year after year. That startling story was a wake-up call to me that this board member, I do not want to be a part of perpetuating a culture of embedded dysfunction, where we choose individuals who potentially are harming students' educations just to have a body in front of kids. I do not want to be a part of the problem. I do not want our good teachers who are having to pick up the slack for those who aren't pulling their weight to choose to even leave the profession because I, as a board member, did not do enough to help fix the problems. One area that causes me question, the numbers of effective and highly effective teacher evaluations that we have. The numbers are astronomical, really. How is it possible to have over 95% of our educators have an effective or highly effective evaluation year after year, yet our district scores are in the bottom third of the state? Something doesn't add up, and it's time we start getting serious about it. I know there are layers upon layers of culturally embedded dysfunction in this district. Some of it lies within a small number of individuals who are ruining the climate for everyone else. Folks in our district right now watching this meeting and hearing my words probably have a few names and faces in their minds right now. In a few weeks, this board will be approving the reappointment of every employee in this district, and I intend to go line by line, name by name, and may ask some tough questions to ensure I, this singular board member, is voting for individuals who will do what's right for kids and not negatively impact, or the individual's word, destroy any student's educational career. Our employees are counting us, parents are counting on us, children are counting on us, and our community is counting on us. We must get this right, because if we don't, it will impact families and our community for generations. In fact, as this community member told me, it already has. Now, ending on a couple of positive notes. Our students have been participating in testing, math testing. Exactly today, I had 2 students in my own household that participated in math testing. Language arts testing has already wrapped up. Science testing is upcoming. I'm grateful to the district and I'm grateful to the state for having those scores already available that parents already know, the language arts scores, and I was able to congratulate my own children about the hard work that is now seen in their testing and their scores. And I can't wait to see the student growth in many areas where all of our students are succeeding, and then those who are struggling, we'll look at those and see how we can get them back on a good pathway. Also this week, I'll be participating in the Fort King Heritage Foundation's Blacksmith Shop ribbon cutting, and I'm grateful to the team at Fort King Heritage Foundation and all the work they've done to restore that wonderful site that is a great location for our students to participate in field trips. And finally, school award ceremonies are happening as we speak. In fact, tonight I missed my own sons because we had a board meeting while the school chose to put an award ceremony, because I heard a parent say they don't want things on Wednesday evenings, but as a board member, Tuesday evenings are kind of rough for me too. Graduations are right around the corner. I'm getting really excited to celebrate all of our seniors and their many accomplishments. We heard some wonderful things from seniors this evening, and I'm super excited to celebrate with all of the class of 2023. I'm grateful to be a part of the class 2023, but I'm also grateful to celebrate all of the many accomplishments that the class of 2023 has upon them. And as graduation season comes, looking forward to seeing all of my fellow board members and their regalia and hearing all the great speeches that our students have prepared. So those are my board comments this evening. Before addressing expulsion matters, I wish to acknowledge that board members have received the alternative placement list for students through April 12th, 2023. Board Clerk, are there any parents who've submitted a timely request to speak on their child's disciplinary matter?
We have one off air.
Thank you so much. So let it be known for the record that JD 23-176 has been moved to the off-air portion of our meeting. May I have a motion to approve the expulsion of students JD 23-172, JD 23-173, JD 23-175, JD 23-177, and JD 23-178 with educational services through the remainder of the 2022-2023 school year and the first and second semesters of the 2023-2024 school year. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. Conrad.
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Thrower. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion passes 4-0. At this time, the board will recess for our off-air portion of the meeting. Board is recessing at 7:28 p.m. Thank you.